Hey guys, Dave here, 40 Plus Fit. We are working on one of the most important parts of a warm up is glute activation, especially for something like squats or deadlift. So the glute's primary function is going to be to extend the hips, hip extension, or open the hips out. As you can see here in a squat, the glutes are stretched at the bottom and they squeeze really strong at the top, and the same here in a deadlift. So these are going to be the primary moves that we're going to be warming up for squats and deadlifts. So being able to activate the glutes is going to be very good for your posture. It's going to be very good to relieve any low back issues, because generally when we are seated at a desk, commute, driving all day, the glutes are becoming inactive and we're using the muscles around the glutes to do their function. Typically what could lead to a low back issue. So this is one of going to be the primary glute warm-up exercises. A glute bridge, lying flat on the ground, driving your heels and shoulders into the ground, extending the hips up as high as you can. By raising the feet up onto a platform, you get a bit more of an angle to work the glutes through. And again, a small bench or a small bit of a raised platform where you can press your heels through to really get a good strong squeeze of the glute muscles to open the hips out. By giving yourself a bit of a challenge here, you can pop one leg up in the air, and this works one glute at a time to do the same job of opening the hips out. Now, if anybody has any issues with the mobility of the hips or has struggled getting into these positions, I have made a mobility video on how to loosen the hips out, so it might be a good precursor to this glute activation warm-up. Alternatively, popping your shoulders onto a bench, again, it just changes the angle and challenges the glutes a bit more. Now, this exercise is called a frog pump, and believe me, I didn't make this up. This comes from a guy known as Brett Contreras, the glute guy. Check him up. It's called the frog pump. You bring your heels together and go for a glute bridge, so you really externally rotate your hips and then force the glutes to open by the hips open by squeezing your glutes. Here's a donkey kickback, again looking for that strong glute squeeze, and this external rotation of the hips is hip abduction, and another really good one to warm up the outside of the glutes for stability in something like a squat, deadlift or a lunge. And here you can see the whole body just stays strong and the knee just swings out to about 90 degrees from the body. Obviously I don't have 90 degrees there, but you get the idea. A really good glute activation exercise is a step up. Now this is done super slow, super controlled, where you're really driving through your heel and you're not springing off the back leg. That's one thing I see that's very common when people do step ups is, as you can see here, they drive off their back leg. So it's almost like a spring off the back leg. So you really want to make sure it's slow and controlled on the front leg. Here is just a super slow controlled squat. You're using a TRX or some sort of a balance aid, where you sit back into a deep squat. With the balance aid, you don't have to worry about your balance of the squat, and you can really focus on the glutes stretching all the way down and driving through your heels to come up for a full squeeze. This really improves the mind-muscle connection between the head and the glutes. And another really good external rotation, or glute med, which would be the muscles that would run the outside of your glute max, is an X-band walk. So you grab a band, wrap it around the outside of your feet, and side step to the left for 5 reps, side step to the right for 5 reps, and this will really fire up the outside of the glutes. Now, another challenge is to get the step up a little bit higher. So as you can see from the bottom position, the glutes are in a very stretched position. You drive through your heel to come up and squeeze them fully out. Again, trying not to spring up from that back leg will really put the emphasis on the front glute doing the work. Jumps, if you can do a jump safely, they're a very good plyometric and dynamic move for your glutes, and these will be very, very beneficial if you can perform. If you have any issues with knee injuries, ankle injuries, then these will be a bit more compromised, so maybe try not to do them. A pause squat is something, again, it's a bit more advanced. If you find that you can run through all these exercises and you really want to challenge your glutes to warm up before squatting or deadlifting, some pause squats or even pulsating squats will just show that you've got that super control of your glutes and your posture to be able to get down into a deep squat and just feel the glutes doing their job of controlling the squat down and driving the squat up. So most of these exercises can be about 30 seconds each, but try and make sure you are doing these before a squat or deadlift and see how they change in your performances. This exercise is known as a good morning. It's just a hinge pattern where you keep your back flat, chest up, and drive the hips backwards, so you really stretch the glutes and hamstrings and posterior chain on the way down and drive them forward to stand yourself back up. So guys, a couple of exercises that we are warming up for or activating the glutes for are the squats. Really awesome leg developers, so it's going to be working your quads, hamstrings, calves, core muscles and back. So making sure your glutes are well activated to perform this well, so you don't go too dominant through the front of your legs, and really working on the posterior chain. And deadlifts, of course, lifting something heavy from the ground without using too much of your back. Guys, Dave from 40 Plus Fit, try these glute activation exercises and see how your performance is affected, and by all means get in touch, let me know how these go. Dave from 40 Plus Fit.